Hey y'all, I'm going to show you one more thing just in case, because we've been put the wax on here with the shop towels, but just in case you want to use your brushes, I'm going to go ahead and do these two sections here using a brush so you can see a little bit of the difference there. And one more thing, and I don't think you can see it back there, but the dark brown that you see in the back, that's the inside of the drawer. And I painted the inside of the drawer with the weathered wood so that it would sort of tie into the deepest areas of this, but there was bleed through. So right now it's got a coat of the, just like we used in the beginning on the top, the fast drying polyurethane in there. And then what I will probably do after that dries is just use the apothecary and dry brush just a tad of that in there to give it a little bit of a design. And I'll let you know what I decide on that. And earlier when I was using the big top on these other pieces, I went ahead and big topped the knobs where I had put a little weathered wood on those the other day. Just to recap, this area has been sanded and it's smooth and it's ready, but it does not have any top coat on it. This is the only place left on the entire piece that doesn't have a finish already on it, like the big top, which is what I put on all the other parts, with the exception of the other front panel that's identical to this one. And on that panel, I first made a mistake and went directly on with the dark wax, where I normally would go on with the clear wax and then the white wax over it, because I wanted to show you the difference in how the wax absorbs into the finish when you have a top coat, which we have here, and when you don't. But what I'm also going to show you with that is how much dark gets on here if you don't put the clear wax underneath it. So I'm going to start with the side first because it's going to be the easiest, but I want you to be able to see both angles. So what you would do, I have the DIY clear wax, that's what we're going to go on with first. And I have my Dixie Belle wax brushes, and I have one of these marked to use with dark and colored waxes. And I actually think this is the one I usually use on my white waxes. The other one I can use it on clear as well, so it's the one that I have in here. And I put a decent amount on there. You don't want to put too much, but this is a pretty good size surface I'm going to be waxing, so I don't like to dip a whole lot when I don't need to. This is going on just smooth as butter. That's what the DIY wax claim to fame is that it just goes on smooth as butter. Now we're going to go with our tiny container of the dark wax. I'm still going to apply this with this tiny chip brush that I used to apply it the other day, because I'm not wanting a lot of it. I mean, I could just stick my dark brush right in there if that's what I was wanting, but it's not. So let me get first the areas where I want it to be darkest. So that's around these edges, corners, right underneath things, anywhere where there's a little detail that you would want to sort of low light. I'm going to rub it in real good with my dark wax brush to get it in those, pushed into those crevices and in those areas that we want to be darkest. Make sure that it's in those really good. I'm just going in a circular fashion on a lot of it, but here where the brush strokes were, we're going to shop towel. Should have had some of these pulled off already. That's what a smart girl would do. Let's hurry up and get the areas we don't want too much in, where the areas where the light's going to hit the surface. See the difference in how dark this is right there and how light this is right here? That's with the wax on and without the wax. So the first thing we want to get off is the center where the light would hit. Then I'm going to do, using my finger in there real tight again, I'm going to get down the center of these legs. It would be less aged in the center than it would the outer edges. Now see the difference in this more now matches the top, but see how much lighter this piece still is. Now here's going to be where my elbow grease is going to come in, because there is no big top on this. Then it's worth it. So I'm not acting like, or I am acting like it's a hassle, because it is. But sometimes this is my favorite part of the whole piece, is the other piece like this on the other side right now. And I'm fixing to do the same thing to this side, but then where you can compare the difference, and it just takes a little more work, but sometimes that little bit more effort gives you a piece to the finish that you wouldn't have received any other way. I go all the way around with the clear wax and the dark wax on the rest of the piece. I'll come back with more of these and buff to get the shine there, and then to where that gives it the protective finish. You have, when you're going straight on this clay-based paint, which is going to want to soak this up, and I know I've mentioned it before, but it's important enough to mention again. When you do that, it's going to suck up this dark, and it's hard to get off, but using the trick of the clear as the eraser will change your life. So here we go. Here's the areas where the details are. Remember, I went in these with like a butter knife, or the end of, I think I did it with the end of one of my little brush tools there. So we're getting good and deep in that crevice. There's a crevice here that separates the leg from the front panel. There's this corner, the under edge here where it would normally be dark. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. There's this inner edge right here, and this edge here. Now those are the areas that need to be the darkest. I'm going to go in on this just a tad. And now it's ready to lightly apply the wax to the rest of the finish. And I'm taking a dark brush, and it's already hard to move. It's thick, it's stiff, it's taken a lot of effort to rub it over the surface and to push it in. That clay has soaked it up to where this is dry, 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 and it's not easy to do. Not like that was. Remember, that just went on like butter. I was all bragging on it. Now here we are. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what have I done? So I'm gonna take now my first cloth and say, I have got to get some of that off. And look what's happening. Some of it's coming off, but remember what happened when I did that on the other side? How you could almost immediately see the lighter color under there? That's not gonna happen here, because I used the dark wax without putting big top, or either or, it doesn't have to be both, clear wax under it. I'm going to do the same thing I did there with my finger. Try to get along these edges where the sun would hit. Now you're seeing why I didn't do this to the whole piece. Not like I don't need to burn an extra 500 calories right today, but I'm really getting out of breath because I'm rubbing so hard. This right here is a special finish if you want it, or a mistake you don't want to make too many times. Okay, I'm going to use, rather than my brush, because I don't want a chance using my clear brush and contaminating it when it starts pulling some of this dark wax off, I'm going to use my shop towel, get me some of that wax, and start erasing. Oh, thank you, mercy. First time you ever see this, you be praying to everybody to be thankful of what has started to happen. Because you think you ruined your piece, it starts coming back to life. So all those areas I wanted lighter, I'm digging in there first. Erasing, erasing, and erasing, and lifting up that dark wax. And I actually love the way this looks. It's not that you would never do this, but going back and erasing it here on this side, just like on the other side, it's bringing out some of the farm fresh and the greens and the deeper colors that we used in there that we were not able to see anymore with just the clear wax down first. See how it's starting to lighten up more, but not like over there. We got more work to do. I've got a lot of that off. I'm going to go in it now with my clear brush so that I can kind of scrub at it. Already you can see it lightening. See there? See what? That's the bristles of the brush hitting it. So we're going to hit it real good on all the areas we want to be the lightest. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It gets down in those brush marks in ways that I was not able to do with the paper towel, the shop towel. Let me show you how it's gonna look with this. I'm gonna give a couple of tips when I get this ready to stage. I'm gonna bring it outside to stage. This is not a staging course. We'll have a separate staging course at some point, but this one's not yet. So you get the idea. I'm gonna pull that back out now. I'm probably gonna have to do it from underneath because this still has damp finish on it, this top piece and then the inside. So I don't want that sticking in, but once we get that right. But see how it's gonna look lighter here and around where the pulls go, darker here and then up there, and it's gonna go in great together. I'm excited about it. So I hope that helped, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.